Hey everyone, it's Fox from modelmakingguru.com here. Hello. Welcome to a new little series that I have decided with my enormous brain and much thinking. It's a bit like Mailbag, but unlike Mailbag, it's not about stuff I've actually gone out and ordered online, so it's not stuff that's turned up. It's going to be about stuff what I have gone out and bought actually in public with the people and the talking and the having to, have a wash and wash my hair before I go out in public. It's all very traumatic. So this new series is called Epic Loot Tactical Shopping Action. Because I don't know why. Because I'm an idiot. I've got to make it sound interesting. So it's a new series of occasional things. When I go out and buy some shit, I'll show you what I bought. Obviously related to the channel and maybe model making, anything else that you might find interesting. So 2 things I want to let you know about today. 3 things really, but actually about 8, 9 things, but 2 technically, but anyway. First of all is this. What you are watching now. This is, I actually went out and got myself a new webcams. Ooh, big 3D. Get your 3D goggles on now. Yeah, the little webcam I had, 720p. It was shit. It wasn't very good at all. It was horrible. It was no good in low light. It was really bad. And it was terrible. You saw it. You know it was terrible. So I went out and got myself a Logitech C920, if you can see that on camera. Logitech C920 HD Pro webcam, which does 1080p's, unless I need it to do 1080p. It's not the be-all and all solution. I found out because right now I'm recording this to my PC, so I'm using OBS, and it really doesn't want to do 1080p if it can possibly avoid it. Happier doing 720p. I've forced it to do 1080p, but it's having to compress it down to 720p when you finally watch this. Otherwise it gets really finicky and all kinds of issues. There's weird stuff. So yeah, it says it can do 1080p and stuff through Skype. That'd be great. But I'm only going to use it for live streaming, really. Live streams from the desk and for joining other people's streams. So to be honest, I'll probably just stick it at 720 anyway, because get 2 or 3 people with 1080p webcams and Google Hangouts will fall over like a dead duck. And probably YouTube will break. So you're probably only going to use it at 720p anyway. But it's a nice, clearer picture, and it's much better with light. If you remember what my desk used to look like when I had the old camera on, it was dim, brown and yellow. This is exactly the same lighting, but this thing handles the light better. Are some drawbacks. It has an autofocus, which worked perfectly almost that time, but usually I have to fight with a little bit. It also has auto white balance, auto contrast and everything else. It does automatically, I can turn it off. But it does mean that if I move from light to dark, sometimes you get where the whole screen goes a bit dark and light when I do that. Not that I have to sit here doing this particularly very often. But hey, you can live with that. Again, it's only really going to be for live streams. And it does have 2 stereo microphones. Now, you might be wondering, if that's the case, why are you listening to this in mono? If you notice, I'm in the middle speaker. Because the camera is here, and I am here. And if I actually had it in stereo, I'd be coming out your left speaker. Because the one microphone is facing me and one microphone's away. So if I had this in stereo now, you'd have me talking on this side, but over here. In fact, should we try it? Shall I stop this recording and restart it with stereo? Let's give it a go. Okay, right, I'm just going to stop the recording now. Let me switch to stereo. Okay, so now this is in stereo. So as you can tell, I'm over here somewhere. But if I move this over here and tap something, this should be in your other speaker. How weird is that? It's kind of spooky, isn't it? So yes, so I thought that would freak you out. I'm going to change it back because I know this will get really annoying after about, I don't know, 3 seconds. I can't, unless I've got the camera facing me, like for podcasts, it's no use at all having it in stereo. So let me go and change that back. Okay, so there we go. So we're back now, back to normal. It's weird, isn't it? So it might come in handy if I ever do anything outside. I don't know. The audio quality is not too bad. It's better than the last webcam. It's not as good as how I normally have it with my little lavalier microphone plugged into my iPhone. My filming is done on an iPhone, normally, my actual proper filming in 1080p. And I haven't found a better way to do filming. I could use a camera, but with the iPhone I can touch the screen to change the autofocus instantly, and I find that super convenient. So I'm not going to change from using a smartphone anytime soon, unless somebody brings in the functionality of the screen to a camera. But then again, the phone's this big and the camera's... So anyway, yeah. So that's a new camera. So hopefully live streams will sound... I know it's not perfect, doesn't sound as good, but hopefully they'll sound and look a bit better. Now, what else have we bought today? Well, I kind of made a terrible mistake. I voluntarily went to my local Warhammer store, and I've been there a few times, and they are really nice guys in there. They're really cool guys. But I always go in there and regret when I come out, because I've come out a lot financially lighter. I went in to get some paints. So I got some paints. Now, if you haven't used Citadel paints, they're water-based. They're not like Tamiya alcohol-based. They're not like Vallejo and the other ones that I use. Water-based, but you can use alcohol. These are 100% water-based. They're designed to be thin with water. And I started using a couple of these in the shades on Gunpla, because, as you know, with Gunpla you can't put anything on that thing without it falling apart, but water-based paints you can do washes with. So I started using a couple of paints and shades. I thought, oh, I should look into this because I quite like these colours. So I made a terrible mistake. I went to the Warhammer TV YouTube channel and I watched all the videos, all of them. And I thought, brilliant, this is what I need for Gunpla, paints that I can do various washes with. So I thought I'll get some. Now, I had no idea about shades, base colours. They have this little way that they do their paints, their nomenclature. Having watched those videos, because before I'm like, a shade, what, a layer, what's a better? Why have you got a different paint for dry brushing and a different paint for painting, and then there's two different types? It made sense when I watched the videos. You have a base coat which is opaque, you have a layer coat or a layer paint which is slightly more translucent, so it's affected by the colour underneath. You've got shades which are basically washes, and you've got dries which are basically pigment heavy, slightly thicker paints for dry brushing. Makes perfect sense. So I watched all that, and I went to the Warhammer store armed with this new knowledge, because I want to start looking at different ways of doing things. So what I'm doing is, for the transit van build, which is there, you can see, been primed, I'm going to put me in it. I know how I'm going to do it. I have done thinkage, so I had to go and get some colours for me. So we've got a couple of blues for the jeans, we have white for general whiteness, we've got a couple of flesh colours, we've got a black and a grey, we've got red for the sneakers, and we've got a flesh shade, a wash for the flesh. I've also got some other colours already. What I want to try and do is, I want to try the brush painting technique, but whenever I've historically brush painted, it's come out looking like cack, because Tamiya paints aren't really great at brushing, and other paints, I've always had problems. These are, from, you know, I've seen people use them and they come out really nice with very few brush marks, and you're thinning them with water, which is super easy and super cheap. So I've got these, and I'm going to give them a try by way of an experiment. Now, I won't be able to show that in the Transit Build video series because E-models obviously don't stock these. These are Citadel paints, and there's very restrictive rules as to who can stock Games Workshop products. I suspect E-models probably couldn't, because they don't have a dedicated shop. They have just a warehouse with a counter, but there's other reasons. So what I'm going to do is, as I was intended to do originally, I'll film a separate painting of me type video, and I'll just include him in the Transit Build. So I got those, but then of course that wasn't the end of it, because then I'm talking to the bloke and I'm having a good time chatting to him. Also, I had to get some more brushes. I got myself another artificer for me artificing, and I got a base brush, because I've got a layer brush but I've got a base brush. So I've got two of those. However, it still went wrong, because then I kind of accidentally walked past the shelves with the kits on, and yeah, I got myself a Warhammer kit. I got myself the Tau Empire TX4 Piranha. Now, I don't know anything about tabletop gaming and Warhammer and that kind of stuff. Well, I wouldn't say I have no interest in it. It interests me, but I will never do it because I don't have time or the patience. But watching those videos on the Warhammer channel, I do like some of the kits. Some of them look really cool. I've no interest in painting just the figures, because I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't really do figure painting. But some of the vehicles look really awesome, and some of the Tau Empire kits look a bit like Gunpla and Gundam, so I'm like, yeah, okay, I could do some of those. So I thought, what I want to do, I'll get myself one of the cheaper kits. In like, I think this was 15 quid, 14 quid. I'll get myself one of the lower end cheaper kits, and what I'll do is I'll try out the sort of time honoured tabletop gaming, Games Workshop, Warhammer brush painting method, doing it the way they do it, not the way I would normally do it. Because they kind of covered, when you watch people doing this kind of painting on miniatures, they kind of have the same principles, but they use very different techniques. A lot of the times they won't use airbrushes, they won't use a lot of the products we use, they'll do it all in a kind of manual way. And I will be honest with you, a lot of the time when you're doing the kind of models we do, you spend all day doing paint chipping coats, and you do rusting, and you do oil paint weathering, and you do this and you do that, and it gets really involved. And even when I try and do a simple build, it stops being a simple build and it takes me a long time. So in the past I've done a couple of like palette cleanser builds where I've just done a real simple skill level 1 paint job on a Gunpla just because I wanted to build something but I didn't want to spend 6 weeks doing it. I'm kind of looking at this as something similar. It's a palette cleanser. It's a whole different way of doing things that I've never really done before that I want to try. It'll be interesting for you guys to watch, hopefully, and if it works, I want to see if I can do it as well as the people that do it, so I can actually do these kind of brush painting techniques, because all that is brush painting. You see on the back, 3 different versions, it's all brush painting. There's no airbrushing. I mean, you can use airbrushes, but these paints are far too thick, but it's traditionally done with the brushes. So you're dry brushing, you've got highlight coats and shades and things like that. So I'm going to give it a try. It'll be a while, yeah. I've got so much else, and you know how much else I've got on. It's going to be a while before I get round to this, but I got this so I can do it as a little test bed to see how it comes out. And then if it does work, there's one kit I really do want. I said I don't know anything about Warhammer. I don't know anything about the mythology or the mythos or the different storylines or the different factions, but I do quite like the Valkyrie. It's like a little dropship, and it looks like something like Alien, and it looks kick-ass. So I resolved myself. I didn't really want to spend 45 quid now on kit. I think it's 45 quid in Warhammer Altrincham, but I didn't want to spend that £45 now. I wanted to do a little one, test it out, because if it just comes out like ass, I'll just get it when I've got a big slot in my schedule, because if this doesn't come out well, I'll just go back to traditional methods, but I'll still do the kit. So I'm going to give this a try at some point in the future. It's just going into my stash for now, my pile, oh shame. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to give these paints a try on the old mini-me and see how they come out. I do like their shades. Now the chap in the shop, and I do forget, he told me his name and I can't remember, I do apologise, chap in the shop. If you live local to me, or if you're in the area, the Warhammer Altrincham shop, they're really nice guys in there. They always make you feel they're welcome. And he says, oh, I follow you on Instagram, because I have my hoodie on. He's like, I follow you on Instagram. I'm like, cool, thanks. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, he suggested, for example, Reekland Flesh Shade is quite a good colour to, you could just do a flesh tone and then stick that on, and that'd be a good flesh colour. So we'll have a play with it. I've got some other shades in my stash. Now I do have to mention the naming conventions for these paints. Most of them are fairly straightforward, like, you know, such and such white, such and such blue, such and such red, and obviously the names are all relevant to the lore of the game, like Kislev Flesh, Reekland Flesh Shade. I suppose Flesh Shade, when you think about it logically, it kind of makes sense. Once you know what a shade is, it kind of makes sense. Because when I first saw their paints, I'm like, what the hell is with these names? This is nonsense. However, it does get a bit silly when you get things like their gloss coat is called hard coat, which is kind of funny because it's a hard coat, but it's like, well, hard. But it doesn't tell you if it's gloss or matte. And their matte coat has got some name that I can't remember what the hell it is, but it doesn't actually in anywhere in the name say matte varnish. I can't remember what it is. I'll put it up on the screen here. So I thought, yeah, that's where your naming convention's gone a bit silly now, because I want to know it's a matte varnish, so you could just call it matte varnish. But anyway, so I do like their naming conventions. Some of the names are quite good. I do personally like the chap that does the Warhammer TV videos. The way he says Ushabti Bone, because it's one of the colours he uses, Ushabti Bone. I love the way he says it. If you haven't watched their videos, go to the Warhammer TV channel and just watch. I think his name's Damien or something. Derek Duncan, might be Duncan. I do apologise if you're watching. He's got the most mellifluous, hypnotising voice. I could sit and listen to him all day. It's just great. I want to talk like him, but I never will. And I can't film myself brush painting too easily. So, but yeah, just go and watch some of their videos. The guy's just so mellow to listen to, and he just says "Ushabti bone." I can't say it the way he says it. Ushabti. I just love that. So I'm just going to go round now for month's sake. Ushabti bone. So anyway, I'll shut the hell up. So yes, I've done the dumbass thing and bought a Warhammer kit. Hopefully I'll have fun with it. There are some really nice kits in the line, vehicles and stuff that there's no reason why non-tabletop gamers can't go and buy them and build them as regular models or try them out. But I want to try out their technique of doing things, which is new to me. And new to the kind of paints I use traditionally. It's not really relevant to those. So that's going to do it. It's just a real quick thing. Anything else to let you know? No. As you can see, the transit's coming on quite nicely. It's all primed. I've done a little bit on the Zaku while that was drying. Sneak preview. If I can get where's the bit? Sneak preview, and it might not come out on camera. I did some. That won't come out at all. I did some torn vinyl. Now I don't know if this will come out. Let's put my hand behind it. The old YouTube style. Will it focus? Will you focus? I've done torn and ripped and battered vinyl. I don't know if it's going to come. It's not going to. There you go. And I will be showing you I will be showing you how I have done ripped and torn vinyl. This isn't painted. This is just primered. This is the primer coat. I will be showing you all about it. And I also have done some rustical damage because this is going to be battered and rusted. So there will be rust and corrosion on this vehicle, which I show in the next video. A little bit on the door. There you go. If it'll focus. Yeah. You can focus until it actually focuses. You can see that. Anyway, so there's some corrosion damage. So, yeah, that'll be in the next week or so. The first episode of that will go up on next Monday, because I leave it a week until after E-Models find it. So the first episode of the Transit Van is going up next Monday-ish. Stay tuned for that. And, of course, stay tuned on most likely Saturday. I'll put the video up of me announcing the winner for the free shit giveaway. When that picture and those two kits will be given away. The plan is to, put the video up on Saturday, because I'll film it Friday evening. So, that's going to do it for this episode, for this first ever episode of, what did I call it? Oh, Loot Crate. No, not Loot Crate, that's a different thing. Epic, well, I can't remember what I've called it now. Epic Loot Tactical Shopping Action. Yeah, I should have come up with a more memorable name. Never mind. Anyway, go off and do some cool things. Go and make some cool things. And until next time, adios amoebas.